welcome this afternoon to your old home and our new home. My name's Phil Humphreys. I'm one of the trustees of the Sustainability Centre, and I'd just like to say a few short words of welcome to you. I trust you will find my words both swift and faithful. Swift in that I promise that they will be very short, which is the purpose of me having them written down, otherwise I rabbit on for hours. And faithful to the values that I think we all share of service. Between 1941 and 1993, I know that this site went through many changes, and through its doors passed thousands of naval personnel, including your very good selves. It's wonderful to see so many of you here today. What a great turnout. Since 1993, though, there's been another season of change in the life of this lovely place here, and it has been transformed into a centre, from a centre which educated so many in the technology of communication, to one where communication is our means of educating people today, particularly young people, in the ways of sustainable living. In common with yourselves, we're great believers in learning through doing, and indeed one of our most popular courses is Build Your Own Clay Oven. And let me assure you, it does not get any more hands-on than that. I spoke of service as being one of our shared values. We are, as I hope you will have gathered by now, a charity, and it is through the support of people like yourselves that we've been able to rebuild this site in its new incarnation and offer education, training and accommodation, and most of all that insight into sustainable living and the opportunity for people to enjoy this wonderful natural environment. We're very proud of what we've achieved, as I'm sure you're proud of what you achieved when you were here. We have great plans for taking this site on to its next stage in life as well. And in here you will see some wonderful drawings of what we're hoping to do next. But that will, and there's also great plans for what will happen over here at the hospital. And through those plans we hope to be able to improve our accommodation, create better education facilities, and showcase the work of the centre, so more people can enjoy what so many have so far. And after today, people visiting will also have, I think, a little better appreciation of the legacy of HMS Mercury. So welcome to you all. Have a great day. Enjoy sharing your old memories, and I hope to enjoy creating some new memories today with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Well, welcome to you all. Wonderful turnout for this, our third plaque unveiling. This one is perhaps more significant than any of the other unveilings because simply we are all here back in our spiritual home. Although where we stand is no longer a naval establishment, we will always think of it as HMS Mercury. I think you would agree. There's too many memories not to. I spent about 6 years here altogether on various courses and the ship's company. I first set foot in Mercury in 1964 when the crescent was packed full of ratings, and the roads and pathways of Mercury were full of squads of all ages and all ranks marching to and fro from classes, or just marching for the hell of it. There were many outstanding characters here in those days, but the two that stand out in my mind more than any, for those of you who were here at that time, is RPO Tyndall and Chief G.I. Weeks. Who remembers those guys? Who would be seen every day marching up and down the crescent with a man under punishment pushing a wheelbarrow, collecting boots and shoes from under beds. your boots showed the slightest bit of wear, they were down at the cobblers in South Camp, and I still think to this day they had a vested interest in the money that cobbler made. There's also a guy here called Dutchy Holland. Remember Dutchy Holland? Anyone? The ex-Bed King, and guy who organised the Duke of Edinburgh Award. And many of us fell for his line, and we ended up on top of some mountain in Wales or in Dartmoor, cold, wet, miserable, hungry, but reassured by Dutchy's words that it will make a man of you, boy. The skipper in those days was Captain David Morgan, and I still recall being in awe of him while standing as a marker outside the main house for my class, terrified that he would speak to me or pick me up for a dirty lanyard. I returned over the years for my SSG course, my Killix course, my ISIS course, and I spent 18 months teaching in GC section with Fleet Chief John Littlefield, who a lot of you will remember. I spent the last 2 years of my time as the Chief RS of the Officers Training Section under the directorship of Lieutenant Commander Mike Cheshire, who's here today. We were initially in Nelson Block, which is, if you remember, was across there, and then we moved into Soberton Block, which is across there, and in the process of doing so kicked the men's out, and they had to move up to the Crescent, much to the delight of the adjacent male-occupied blocks. There's a lot of you here today, of course, who go back much further than that, and your memories must be significantly different to mine. I would like to mention one chap who's here today, Keith Evans. Where are you, Keith? Keith Evans, he was here in 1941. So I don't think anyone is going to better that. Thanks for coming yet again, Keith. Well done. I've had quite a lot of correspondence from old Matlows who couldn't make it today, who wish they could. I'd just like to mention one. It's from a telegraphist called Ken Tipper, who is now in his 90s and residing in Ocala, Florida. He was a survivor from HMS Punjabi that was cut in half by the King George V, and following his survivor's leave came here to Mercury. He writes, I was in Mercury in 1942 and 3. I remember the butler buildings we lived in, drafty and cold. I was here learning to intercept Japanese wireless traffic prior to being sent to HMS Anderson in Ceylon. He goes on to say that he would like you all to know there is still a graduate of Mercury alive and kicking in Florida, and sends his very best wishes to you all today. Before moving on to the unveiling, I'd like to remind you of a couple of things, please. Please bear in mind that where we stand and the bridle path and the Droxford Road are the only areas open to the public. Everything else that you knew as Mercury is private land now, and I'd ask that you respect the privacy of the residents this afternoon. If you have not already found it, we have draft beer, Mercury specially brewed Mercury beer downstairs. We have wine, we have tea, we have coffee, and so on and so forth. Just please help yourself. And all we ask is a small donation towards the Mercury Blue Plaque scheme for future unveilings. Finally, almost finally, a reminder that our next unveiling will be at the White Line at Soberton, Pinky, on the 2nd of May. Our guest of honour today, and willing duty unveiler, is Commodore Tony Morrow, who I'm sure is well known to quite a lot of you. He joined the Royal Navy in 1962 as a seaman officer and qualified as a signals officer in 1970. He captained HMS Lindisfarne and HMS Active. He went on to serve on exchange duty in the Pentagon from 1985 to 87. He was appointed captain of Mercury in 1988, where he resided until 1991. Our paths first crossed in the mid-70s when he had the greatest honour of his career in being my divisional officer on the Royal Britannia. was an excellent boss and very popular with the troops. I knew that. I left the yacht as an LROG to take promotion, returning on board 5 years later, one rank up as an RS. Tony, in a blatant attempt to try and black cap me, followed a very similar path. Only when he went back, it was more than one rank up. Back returning, of course, as Commodore Royal Yachts, to guide Britannia through the final years of her time in the fleet. My overriding memory of him is from the 11th of December 1997, when, as a forlorn figure, he was the last man down the gangway from Britannia on decommissioning day. A memory neither of us remember with pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to give you Tony Morrow.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a real pleasure it is to be here. I feel very humble, funnily enough. I'm not sure I ever felt that way when I was the captain of Mercury, but that was extremely satisfying, proud, happy days here, and to come back to one's alma mater then as the captain, in fact the penultimate captain here at Leydean, was very, very special to me. It happened to be my first job as a captain on promotion. I think I escaped the Ministry of Defence on many an occasion, having told my appointer that I just didn't want to be in a suit. I just enjoyed being in uniform, so please don't let me go to the Ministry of Defence. And that's why many of you here know me not as one of those mod warriors, I suppose they were called. I left that to others and was very happy to be out in the front line, as it were, with you. And to come here to Mercury was particularly special. It brings back great memories, of course, with many of you here today. I see my commander of those days, Patrick Harland, his good wife here today, Len Foote, Chris Williams, many of others as well as those who served with me in Britannia. How wonderful it is that career that we all share together in one way or another can bring us together on other occasions. And thank you all for being here today for this occasion. Thanks to Dave very much for doing with, I think, Nigel Sullivan. Nigel, you're here somewhere? I saw Nigel down there. He was so served in the yacht with me. For this great blue pack scheme, which we're now as the third, and I think there will be some more, which is great. With your support, we can keep that going. Keith Evans, mentioned I met earlier, was Captain Secretary here in the early 40s, as we've heard, and how wonderful it is that connection can still be amongst us here today. Thank you for doing that. Thank you also to the Sustainability Centre, Christine as well, Dave, for your good words of encouragement as well, and for all that you've done for laying this on today. I think probably I'm required to do this as unveiling now, but before I do it, I just was going to show you, underneath here is going to be the plaque, but there is covering at the moment, as we all know, signal officers and signalmen amongst you, a Union flag. Union flag, well known, great national flag, but of course you would have seen it, I'm sure, with the unveiling, naming of the latest Britannia, a rather ugly ship in my view. And I have to tell the Buntings amongst you that actually, although they have good reason for saying this, they've actually got the Union flag upside down. Something we would never have done at all. But however, on that happier note, can I unveil with great pride the connection here at Leydean with the Sustainability Centre, and long may it be remembered amongst us.